How's it going, everybody? Welcome to week 6, I think we're in. Yeah, moving right along. Semester. Yeah, and this is kind of, we're getting towards the end of sort of Abrahamic religions. Here, the first, we're going to spend 2 weeks on Islam. This week, just sort of the origins of Islam, what it comes from, who this Muhammad person is, who is Allah, text, and that, and some, beliefs, practices, which I think the lectures do a good job of covering. Next week, we'll look at what made Islam a world religion, how to expand out, what is the role of that, and then also how it sort of changed over time. So it's kind of what this week is about. Hopefully the lectures are clear. Muhammad in 610 CE around there. That's when he heard this angel appeared to him and started saying, "Hey, I got this new revelation, this new story of God, which is the same Yahweh, which is the same God." So Islam does acknowledge the Old and New Testament. They know who Jesus is, but in Islam, Muhammad is this last prophet, so very much Muhammad and Allah are two very important figures. The words of Allah given to Muhammad, that's what the Quran is. Again, a little different than the Bible. There's not a whole bunch of stories as much as more verses of praise, hymns of praise to Allah there. And then the more moral, ethical ideas are in the Hadith, which is sort of how, questions and answers, narratives. People would ask questions to Muhammad. He would give his response to that, and that's kind of this moral, ethical world that evolved out of that. So those are the two main texts. A little bit of history there. Mecca is very important. Hopefully you now know the importance of Mecca and the Kaaba, the rock in the middle of, or the building, the structure in the middle of Mecca, which is sort of the center of the Islamic world. And then the big one here, what are the Islamic practices? Trying to break that up, and as many people do, is sort of these 5 pillars of Islam. Faith in Allah, Muhammad, pray 5 times a day, observe Ramadan, give to charity, and go on the Hajj once in your life. And that's really it. There's not like a baptism, there's not a confirmation, there's not a lot of things you've got to adhere to. Mosques, if you can pray at the mosque, great. If not, then pray at your house. I gave a recording of the Adhan, which is sort of the call to prayer. So if you live in an Islamic country, there's a call to prayer from the mosque 5 times a day. So you'll hear it, you'll know what it is that calls you to prayer. You can pray on your own, or they recite prayers. It's really part of everyday life there. And then Ramadan, I explained a little bit. The Hajj, hopefully people are familiar with. There's a video on that, explains that a little bit more as well. So I think that's kind of the main points of Islam. Hopefully, at least the origins of it, which again, sometimes people aren't as familiar with Judaism and Christianity, but this is also this part of this Abrahamic world. They share a lot of similar beliefs and ideas. So that's kind of and then the assignment for this week is just pick one of the pillars and sort of discuss it. Use the course materials, the textbook reading, or the lectures or the videos, and kind of talk about it. Pick an element there. Can be, if it's. I gave some examples just to kind of like show the connections there. One, pray Allah. You could use like the text, the Quran. I gave some examples. It's like 40 verses of the Quran. I think there's like 6,000. Or the Hadith. I gave one example there, but if you want to go and explore it a little more, feel free. Prayer. You pray in a mosque. I thought that was, there's a lot of mosques, a lot of very famous mosques, so maybe some architecture. Ramadan is there, or charities. There's a lot of Islamic charities. If you Google it, you'll see that there's actually a lot there. Islam charities are very much part of this. A lot of people feeding people, the less fortunate in various countries. So you can look at that. And then the Hajj, I give a video about that. If you want to learn a little bit more about the Hajj, you can as well. So that's kind of, just focus on one of them, right? Be a little more familiar. You can use my suggestions, or you can come up with your own if you feel like it. And then, so that's like this week. And then I did go through everyone's final project topics and sources. Very good, like a great array of topics. I'm really interested. A lot of things that I'm interested in. So I'm learning. I'm excited to learn. See what you learn about it. Um, I think universally, my biggest comment was like, make sure this project is manageable, right? I mean, the final project is like a 3 to 5 page paper and a shorter presentation. So, I tried to kind of suggest ways to limit. For example, a lot of people pick Jesus, which is great. I mean, a very fascinating figure, obviously very connected to religion and world religion. But in 3 to 5 page paper, are you going to write the entire history of Jesus? I don't think so, or the meaning of Jesus. I think that's going to be really challenging. I mean, there's entire shelves of libraries dedicated to this topic. So and I kind of tried to say, what do you want to say about Jesus? What do you want to learn about uh, Jesus or your topic? In like the context of Jesus, like, do you want to do more biography stuff? Like, this is his life, and this is an event, some events, or maybe an event of it. Or do you want to like maybe look at the message, like a Jesus message, a passage from the New Testament, look at it in the context of when it was said, why it was said, what it means, how it sort of resonates through time. See how you can kind of divide those up, and really within all of your topics. I mean, this is first phase. First, pick your topic, start doing a little bit of research, and then, but as you're researching, be thinking about, okay, how can I narrow this? How can I make this manageable? How can I finish this semester, right? Because I want everyone to learn something that they've always wanted to learn about. But if you try to do too much, it's going to get overwhelming. So, just try to narrow that as we go. And I tried to give advice, comments on your topic. So great. Have a good rest of your week.